Now, diving into, going straight into some of the changes, I first want to touch on our new product page. So the project page essentially, this is still going to be the same as what you're used to, but as you can tell, there's a different layout. So this one right here at the bottom right, you're going to see the old layout. This one right here is the new layout, and I'll walk you through it in a bit. But one of the main reasons we wanted to basically make a couple of changes when it came to the project page, and I'll read them right here is number one, all project data is now organized into clear, convenient cards. So looking at it here, we have the 2D design. That's going to be where all of our instant design designs will live. And then you have the 3D model. This right here is just going to be for any designs. And then we have the measurements piece, the estimates, etc. And I promise you, I'll walk through it in a bit. And like I mentioned, you're going to be able to access 2D designs and inspiration images in the design tile. So now we'll give you kind of a preview of any designs that you've been working through. You're also going to be able to see material list, labor, and cost estimates in the estimates tile, which is down here. We won't be covering that too much today, just because we have a webinar specific to that. But just know it's going to have its own card, and they're just going to be additional cards that's going to give you a preview of whatever is in that exact feature. I also want to mention, and I got some insider scoop from one of our project managers, is beforehand, we have a bunch of project managers. As you can tell, we have a lot of tools that we give you, but the project page never really spoke to some of it. You had to click into something in order to see what you were working on. So for example, if you were using our 2D design tool, formerly known as Instant Design, we didn't give you any preview of whatever had been done within there. Now with this new project page, it's going to actually show you, hey, here are some of the most recent designs that you did. You click into it and it'll bring you in there. Same thing with the 3D model. We also have a couple of new functionalities when it comes to sharing designs, which I'm excited to share with you all today. And then of course, you can be editing project details anytime. I also want to highlight a little bit about the 3D experience. And this is the biggest change probably most of you are going to be seeing in today's live class / moving forward. Here's the legacy layout. And again, I'll touch on it in a bit. But here's that new layout that our team has done. It's really meant to kind of clone whatever was used in our instant design tool. So it's going to be the same. It kind of helps condense everything into one. Beforehand, you were using two different builder / design tools. Now it's all essentially going to be one. So going down the list of these points right here, the first one being leverages a unified interface to make it easier to design and view measurements. That's a bunch of feedback we got beforehand. They were like, hey, why are they two different tools? Now it's one unified one. A big one, and a lot of people last week were excited about this, is we now allow you to save multiple 3D designs, unlike before where you could only save one or you had to grab screenshots. This new builder allows you to add multiple designs in one. We also have a pretty sweet tool. It's in beta, and I'll touch on it in a bit, but we're planning to allow you to design something in 2D and then have that transfer over to 3D. And if you start noticing a theme here is beforehand, we have all of the products, but it was like we had all of the puzzle pieces, I should say, but none of them really connected. 2D, what's its own tool, 3D, what's its own tool, and then our material list, what's its own tool. Our goal here and the vision I'm trying to sell you all today is kind of to have it be all one connected flow to where you start in our 2D design, create a design based off a picture. From there, have that speak to our 3D model, continue on, making any changes, adding siding, roofing, etc., and then having that speak to our estimates tool. And then the last one being prepare designs that map directly into hover estimate calculations. Again, I'll touch on that, but not too much because we have a live class specific to that. So in summary, in the agenda for today, what I want to touch on is the 2D model and then the 3D model. Now, this is where I give you all whiplash and I apologize, but let me start. Let me share my screen really quickly. When it comes. Give me a sec here, folks. Okay, let's just share this one. Now, I wanted to start with the side-by-side comparison of what you've all been used to before all of these enhancements started coming out. So on the right-hand side right here, this is our old project page. And as you can see right here, it has the project name. But unlike the new product details page, everything was just a button. There was no preview. Now, with our new page, what I want to show you is everything essentially stays the same. There's the name, the functionality that is. The UI has changed a lot, as you can see. There's the address. It's going to let you know who created the job ID, and that's still super important in case you ever need to reach out to our support team and you have questions. Keep that in hand. But the design instantly button, which is this button right here or this right here, it now has its own card where it'll live in. And like I was mentioning, folks, it's going to give you a preview of any designs that you've done. You'll also be able to go in there and create additional designs. The 3D model button, which is this one right here, it's going to have its own card. As you can see, you can save multiple 3D designs now, but if you click on this, it'll bring you to the 3D model. If you also go in here, we also have this measurements piece. Now, one thing I want to call out within the measurements piece is, well, going back a little bit quickly, if you click this view 3D model, this is going to take you to the 3D model where you can actually go in there and make designs. It's going to take you to the 3D design tool. If you scroll down in the measurements piece, it'll give you a couple of measurements within here. If you click into this 3D model, it'll have the 3D model that a lot of our users love, which is where you can visually see the measurements that you see within the PDF. We also have a live class specific to that. Feel free to sign up. We're going to send you a follow-up afterwards. But just one thing to call out there, I get a lot of people confused. Christian, if I hit the view 3D model here, it doesn't let me see the measurements. That's because this would only take you to the design 3D model. If you go within here, it's going to take you to the actual measurements on the 3D model. So hopefully that makes sense, but I'll show you all in a bit. And then we have some other cool things coming, inspections. So if you need to inspect your property, we have that. Estimates, which was our formal material list. All of you are familiar with it for that, hopefully. If not, we have a live training with that, and I'll also slightly touch on how our new builder speaks to it. And then some exciting updates as we have proposals coming up where you'll actually be able to send multiple proposals through Hover, have a client review them, and then they can sign a contract. Now, tying it back to this right here, going back to just my regular builder, I want to start with instant design. And the reason why, or our 2D design, and the reason why is, say you show up to the property and you go around, you take the 8 pictures and you have some time to kill. We now give you a tool, which is going to be this 2D design. But based on some of the pictures that you selected, you can actually go in there and start designing that 2D picture that you would like. Now, I promise you folks, when it comes to this, I want you all to step out of the business owner's shoes, the sales rep's shoes, and put yourself in the shoes of the homeowner. What do they want to see? And I promise you, if you bring up a real life picture of their house and you start making designs, you're going to be pulling an emotional piece that probably your competitor isn't going to be pulling. So with this, you can always change the photo. So maybe you're working with the homeowner and they only want like a partial rebuild on the back end, or it's like completely, restoration. Go in here and browse some of the different pictures that you took when it came to the scan. You can also just add in an outside photo. If you add in an outside photo, it won't talk to the 3D model, and I'll show you in a bit. But just know, again, maybe you're working with the homeowner who's getting ready to sell and they want to do a couple of renovations. They have someone go in there, and take professional photos, and they're like, hey, Ali, we want to use this. You can always upload it. One thing to call out here as well is you do not need to have an existing Hover project to use our 2D tool. Now, this is great. Maybe you want to, you have a canvassing team and they go around a neighborhood before an appointment. They grab a picture of the front of the house and you want to use this as leeway. You're marketing to someone, hey, I created a couple of designs for you. If you're interested, let's schedule an appointment. Or even they can do it, they knock on their door and they can start making changes within there. You do not need to have the 3D model or their measurements in order to use this tool. You can simply upload a picture and begin designing. Now, I'm going to start with just the front picture. And this right here is the tools, the builder that you're going to see, the design tools. Number one, this lets you know all of essentially the different quote unquote trades that will be supported when it comes to our 2D design. Number one, you'll be able to customize the walls. You can customize the trim on this property, the roof. One thing to note with the roof is always make sure you're using a picture that can actually show the roof. I get a lot of people that, maybe it's not a 2-story like this or it's a flat roof. Try to just angle it a little bit where you can see, or maybe that might be a good point when, you could stand on the ladder. Again, don't need to do that for the scan, but you are able to do it for the 2D design. We also allow you to go in here and customize windows if you would like. And one thing I want to call out is if you have this toggled off, you can actually go in there and make sub selections. So maybe you're working with the homeowner, and it's a window lead and they only want to change windows on this side of the house. You can go in there, toggle that off, and only make changes to these four windows. It's really up to you. We allow you to make changes to the door, the garage door, and then, of course, if you just want to change the overall paint of the house, we allow you to do that as well. A call out is we do not allow you to basically add anything to the property. When you're making changes, you're just making design changes. So whatever you see within here, you're going to be able to actually go in there. Maybe you want to change the siding, the trim, etc. You will be able to do that. But we have this new buttons right here. We make it easier for you to search something. And if you don't know a specific product or color, do not worry about it. You do not need to be using the search functionality. I know I get some people that get overwhelmed and they're like, Christian, there's so many products out there. There's so many different brands. I don't know. You do not need to use the search functionality if that's the case. You can literally just browse through here, but you can also work through our filters. Number one, we're going to give you the type of siding. And if you were to change the trade that you're working on, so for example, if we were to change to trim, just know, well, it doesn't look like that one has it. For a roof would be a good one. It'll show you the actual brand. So just something to keep in mind as you're playing around with the different trade, then you'll actually see that brand, populate within there. But let's go back to walls. It'll show you the type. You'll be able to filter based on the color scheme, so beiges, blues, browns, darks, etc. There's the brands that I was talking about earlier. This one's a little bit lower. We can even tie it down based on product line. Now, one call out here, and I get this question all the time is, hey, Christian, can I customize the product line? One thing to know, and just to keep in mind, folks, is when it comes to all of the brands you see within the 2D Builder and our 3D model, those are actual partnerships that we have with those brands. So basically, we work with them, we create a partnership, and then they give us their catalog. So what you see within here is what you're going to get. We do not have control over actually controlling specific product lines they offer, etc. It does not go that into nitty gritty. It's more like, hey, if you're working with the said, here's what they offer, and here's what you're going to see. You can also choose it based on the sizing and then the color collection. But you're working with the homeowner, you show up, and I actually forgot one thing I wanted to touch on with you all, and I apologize. Go back in here, ignore that. And if we go back to this, I'm so sorry, folks. If you scroll down within here, we also have what we call the Inspire Me page. Now, this is really only meant for you to be using it. Maybe you're showing up to a homeowner and they have no idea what they want. They're like, hey, Sean, I know I want to make a couple of reservations, but I have renovations, but I have no idea what. Go in here and you have the Inspire Me feed to give you some different styles. These are popular styles that we're seeing in the market, a lot of styles, that other homeowners have done. You can always go in here and browse through that. Again, completely optional. But again, maybe you're working with the homeowner who has no idea what they want. Browse this. Let's tie back to this. You show up to the property, you're working with someone, and they're like, hey, Christian, I want to change, the walls, the siding on my house. I'm just over it. You're like, hey, perfectly great. Let's click on this filter. Maybe they want to keep the horizontal siding. From there, let's see what colors we would like. Maybe they want to stick with the darks. As you're going in there and actually selecting it, just know the results, there's going to be less results to choose from. But that's just letting you know, hey, you're tying it down exactly to what it is that you're hoping to get. So if you were to click the jet black and let that load, I have clients, bring their tablet, and everything I'm showing you works on your tablet, works on your desktop. It'll also work on your mobile phone. Obviously, it might be a little bit hard for the homeowner to actually be able to see. But if you want to even, go the extra length, I have pros that I work with bring an HDMI cable, or they ask the homeowner if they can actually, AirPlay their TV or play their screen onto the TV. And that way, get everyone engaged. Give your clients that HGTV experience where you're like, hey, I'm not a designer, but I have this design tool and it's super easy. And you start working with them. So there we changed the siding. Maybe also they want to change the roof. And again, filter it. It's really up to you. I think for the sake of today, I want to do this pewter gray. And let that load. I've also had, some pros, what they do while they're doing the scan is they're like, hey, I've uploaded a picture of your house. Go in here while I'm doing my inspection, play around with it. You can do this before, you can do this during, or you can do this after the appointment. And as you can see right here, the roof has changed. A quick recommendation I have for all of you is as you're going in here and even making some slight changes, highly, highly, highly recommend that you save all of the designs that you're working with. And this is a great example if you want to do like the good, better, best, save a couple of designs and you're like, hey, in an appointment, I'm going to walk you through some of the ones that I was able to do, but save them because you can have as many 2D designs as you would like. And then the reason I always recommend that you save them is if you were to hit share, it didn't save, and I think I know why. Let's look for it right here, this one right here. And this is a good one. Obviously, this is my demo account, folks. So hopefully none of you are going to be working on these many designs in a house, but this is great. So you can actually see, hey, how many designs could I be saving? Here's the one I just did. Let's save it. And then you can share it. And then essentially this works like a great business leave behind card. Obviously, this is my demo account, so ignore this. It's going to have your contact information. It'll have the original picture. And then if you click into this, clients will be able to toggle from the original to the design. And if you actually made changes, it's going to let them know, hey, here's the materials that we actually selected. And obviously, it's up to you how many designs you want to save and how many you want to share. But just know you can share multiple ones, you can save multiple ones. It'll really be up to you. Now, I want to take a quick second. Keyshawn, Ali, any questions maybe on something I can answer live or through the actual demo piece before I move on?
I think things look good in the Q&A in the chat. Some questions around splitting are starting to happen for the 3D model. So
Okay.
I'm saying stay tuned, but just so you know, Christian.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you, Ali.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Well, and then I'm happy Ali brought up the split tool at this time. It's not something that's available in our 2D design. That is something feedback we've heard. Our team has heard it. I believe it's something that'll be worked on later this year. I do not have an exact ETA. But hey, even if we're beating a dead horse, folks, share any and all feedback. Our team is heavily invested in all of these new features that we're offering you. So whatever you love, let us know. Whatever you like, let us know. And whatever you dislike, let us know as well. And then one call out, when it comes to feedback is when it comes to 2D, if you're also working through a couple of designs or working through a couple of materials and you don't like something, the homeowner doesn't like something, I don't know, whatever it might be, you can always click this and let us know, hey, this is why I don't like it. This feedback actually gets sent automatically to our product team, so they're going to be reviewing it. But if again you've gone in here, you played around with it, a note update is we also let you know what designs you clicked in here. So it's just give you again a quick summary. Again, if you were to go in here, make some changes to the windows, the paint, etc., you're going to see it, be a little bit more in depth. But just to show you today, a quick overview. Now, a super exciting new tool that we're offering, and I want to make a huge disclaimer here, folks. This is in beta. I know, and we know that there is a lot of limitations when it comes to this at this time, but I want to show you all an exciting update where again, I went in here, I changed the siding and I changed the roof. If you were to click 3D, what I made changes to in the 2D will actually automatically sync to the 3D model. Now, the limitations we have within here, folks, is right now you could only do one material per category slash trade. Now, what I mean by that is you could only select one trim material, one roof material, and one siding, and that will automatically speak to the 3D model. Now, again, if you're working in a 2D design and you're making a lot of changes, most likely than not, it is not going to transfer over. So again, I know it's not ideal, but it's something we know. It is a current limitation. It is a beta tool that we're working with. But if you love it, let us know why this would benefit you. And if you're like, Christian, I'm not using this a lot, then let us know why. But again, it's just something that our team is barely working on, but we want to see, hey, is there a need for this? And very quickly, I'd love let's clear off. And if you do that, it's going to take you to the 3D model. Now, of course, you're only going to have access to the 3D model if you've actually gone around and done the scan. And once you know your measurements are live, it'll let you know. But still, it's going to let you know within here what's been done. And as you can see, folks, and let me very quickly, in case you all need me to remind you, here was that old 3D model that you guys all used to love. And then there's the measurements piece right there. But the design piece, it was just this. And you could only go in here. You can make changes to the siding, the roof, and any openings. We only allow you to save one design per user. And then, of course, if you wanted to share additional designs, ooh, tongue twister, you had to actually go in here and make changes, and grab screenshots. Now, the new builder, to keep it all one flow and have it be cohesive, it's the same as the instant 2D design. And same thing, the walls, you can make changes to the walls, the trim, the soffit, fascia, roof, windows, doors, garage, and shutters. This was a highly requested feature by a lot of you. So here it is. If you were to click shutters, we now allow you to actually remove shutters. We don't allow you to add any shutters. One call out there, but we now allow you to remove shutters. And maybe you're working with someone, they just want to see how it looks, but they're like, actually, Keyshawn, add it back. Hit this undo button and we'll add it back. But we don't allow you to customize shutters at this time, but we now allow you to actually be able to go in there and you're working with someone, they're like, I don't like, remove the shutters. You can now remove it and then add it back within there. This menu will be changing pretty soon, but if we're in the wall section, if you click here, this just gives you a better call out of what specific materials you're seeing within the 3D model. So if you were to click it, it's going to highlight in red all of the actual horizontal siding. Maybe you want to look at all the unknown, and I believe that's in the back. It'll highlight it. So this is just an easier way for you to actually be able to call something, or you just want to call it out walls, click that on. But just know though, if in a couple of weeks, today, and I do apologize for any confusion, but right now it's down here. In a couple of weeks, this is expected to move over here. A lot of feedback we've gotten, hey, it just makes sense for us to be able to actually review it over here. So you might see this walls change over here. But if we were to go into the walls, and then same thing, if you have something, you can automatically search it up or play around with the filters. I'm going to go in here and I just want to search for an iron color. And then I'm going to change it to the iron gray hardy plank. Now, I got asked about the split tool. So maybe we're working with someone and they want to do some, accent siding with the trim. So let's call this out right here. I'm just calling out this general area right here, and let's hit split. From here, you're going to want to be able to select what walls you want to split. I think for the sake of time, I just want to split this one right here. And then the same thing, you can split as before. Let's have it be that. Apply. And then now this was broken up into two sections. I want to create another split because I want to add a trim. I want to shorten that and make it the same size as the board right there. Apply. And now it was broken up into three different sections. Let's remove that. And then now we have this button where it says convert to trim. One call out here, it'll automatically convert it. The system will recognize it, and it's going to take you to the trim selection here. You can then go in here Maybe they want to do this cobblestone trim. I don't know. This one right here. And then calling out this one, maybe they're like, we want to change that type. They want to do some shingle siding. So if they were click that. And folks, I'm not a designer, so I hope none of you are judging my design tools. But I think that's a great call out when it comes to our design tools is you don't need to be a designer. And I promise you folks, you're not going to break anything. Highly recommend you go into, a project, an old one, an example project in your account and start playing around with the design tools to get comfortable with it. But maybe they want to do this. Again, call that out. And they just want to do an Arctic white. Now, hypothetically, folks, work with me here. Say we don't offer you the ability to add, an outside trim, but with the split tool, outside of it being horizontal, let's do a call out here. I just want to break up this wall right here. Same thing, like this button, and you can move it along the specific wall that you've selected. I want to do it as skinny as possible. That, and then same thing, convert to trim. This one already has trim, so it's not the best example, folks, but stay with me here. Imagine it, and that's how you would be able to go and add trim. And maybe, they just wanted a different color. I don't know. Same thing. And then maybe they want like, inside trim. So if you were to do a split wall, change it up over here. A little thicker, but convert to trim. Then there's that black. Why would anyone do this? I don't know. I kind of like it. Another thing is maybe you want to do a split. And you want to change this bottom material. We've already selected it. Hopefully this doesn't, but it might. But if we were to clear all, and maybe you have someone you're working with that wants to add some stone. And then this was incorrect. No, in this one. And then now you're working with them. Same thing with the windows. You can go in here. Maybe you want to change the outside windows. And you can be changing the outside windows. You can also select a certain side, and maybe you're working with the roof and you're working with the homeowner that's like, hey, Christian, I'm not sure what I want. I need to be able to see a side-by-side comparison. We still allow you to select a certain, facet of the roof. And if you're working with someone who doesn't know what specific color they want, click on it. And then maybe you can do this hickory one. And then you're like, hey, you're unsure of what you want. Here's the side-by-side comparison. How does it look? Here's the other one we did. Here's this one. Let me know. Similar to the 2D design, folks, save as many as you would like. And this is a huge, huge upgrade from what we had before. Live class design. You can be saving as many designs as you would like. Unlike before, where you could only save one when it comes to the 3D model, we now allow you to save multiple ones. And voila. Now, you guys have seen in here, I've done a lot of changes. I added this trim, this accent siding, this stone. I won't go into it too much, but just know whatever changes you make with the 3D model, if you were to hit the measurements piece, the measurements piece will actually be updating to let you know, hey, here's the measurements, for whatever it is that you did. So this one, if you call it out, there's that trim I added in, you will see that. And there's that, all of it was essentially iron gray. I believe if you scroll down, it should have somewhere, it should be the stone that I did. But just to a quick call out for all of you folks is whatever changes you're making within the 3D model, the measurements 3D will be updating. The PDF will stay the same. That's never going to change. But just a quick call out in case you have any questions with that, or just, you might have been wondering. Let me take a second. Any questions that anyone has? Um, Ali, Kishan, any, any questions that I can probably answer on the demo piece before I move on?
Christian, can you show everyone how to share a design to the homeowner and allow them to design that
Yeah,
property?
yeah. So folks, let me start off with how do you share just a single 3D design? And this is going to be a change from what you've all are used to. So please pay attention here. So if you were to go in here and you hit share, we allow you to share the 3D model. But what's a little bit different with this is the homeowner does not have access to actually being able to go in here and making changes to it. And I know that's where you're used to. So this is where you're going to, your workflow is going to be changing a little bit, but you can now be sharing the designs that you created. Now, maybe you're working with the homeowner that you trust, or you really want to get engaged. You really want to be, that design partner. You're going to take it back to the project details page, and you see the share button right here. If you hit share, again, this is my demo account. Please ignore everything, but you're going to get a drop down where are they a pro? And if it's a pro, think of someone you work with. Maybe, it's a sales rep. Maybe, I don't know, it's like another contractor. You can actually share a link with them and they'll have access to it. Or you want to share it with the homeowner. Make sure you click the homeowner tab. You add their email. They then get an invite. They will be creating their account and they will have access to the project. But the only thing they're going to have access to is number one, the 2D design. So they will have the option to be able to go in there and make edits to the pictures if you allow them to, and the 3D model. And then that's when they can go in there, review any designs that you've made for them, and then they can make any additional designs. At this time, they do not have access to any of the measurements cards, the proposal cards, the estimates, the inspections, etc. They'll only be able to go in here and play around with it. Now, let me go back again. Here's that 3D model. You made changes to this. If you share this actual 3D model by hitting share right here, your clients will not have access to actually be making changes. You're only giving them access to view the changes you've already made, and it's just a 3D model. If you actually want them to be able to collaborate with you and make changes, we've changed this workflow a little bit. Go back into the project details page, hit the share, you add in their email, make sure you select homeowner. They get a link, they create an account, and they have access to the project that you've added them to.
Christian, would you be able to share, maybe make a wall stucco and just show the changes that can be done like to a stucco material?
Yeah, so like any of them, or I mean,
Yeah, if just like the kind of color changes to
yeah,
a stucco area would be awesome.
well, of course. Give me a sec here.
Christian, you can probably change all the siding to stucco.
Yeah. Okay, let's just do
And yeah,
that.
and then go ahead and do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, put this over here. Okay, let's do the walls. And then let's do all walls right here. There's the stucco. Let's ignore this stone one. Perfect. So we're going to give you this. And this is obviously going to change everything. Coastal mist, sand stucco. So you'd be able to click that. But it's the same thing. You'd be able to go in here. Looks like we might have less options for you to choose some from. But there's, the color schemes, the brands. And I think stucco is just generic. Product lines, obviously stucco. Blah.
Christian, would
Blue.
you be able to go in and now like change like one of the walls that are stucco to like a different material?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's do, maybe they want to do this one right here. I don't know why, but they want to do this one. And Kishan, while I have you, what would you want to change to?
Well, let's change that to shingled siding.
Single siding. Okay, so let's clear off
Let's do James Hardy.
single siding right here. And then the brand, let's scroll down and let's look for where to go. I think it's more down here. It's harder. You. Is there anyone that catches your eye?
You can do white, classic
Let's do
white.
So again, make sure you're selecting the wall you want. Did I do the classic white? I don't think I did, huh?
I think that was fine.
Okay. And then now, as you can see right here, the rest is stucco, but this one's just specific to the shingle siding. And then you can go in here and select any specific walls that you would do, make changes to it if you want. Cool. Any questions on that? Any feedback?
No, I think we're good.
Oh, what about any questions on the design piece that anyone might have? Or sorry, the sharing piece. I know that might be a little bit confusing since it is a completely new workflow. So any questions there? And I do want to give you all a quick preview. I won't be touching on this today. Highly recommend signing up for, our proposals webinar. But as you can see right here, this list has been updating with some of the changes that I've been making. So it's just giving you a summary of, hey, here are the materials that you've been selecting. If you hit start estimate, formerly known as material list, let's just update this design. It saved it as a 3D model. It's going to let you choose, again, what you made changes to. And then it's going to take you to this page, which again, hopefully you're all familiar with it. And then we've changed the wording. So it used to be called material list. Now it's called estimates. But it's going to be one flow to where you've made changes to the 3D model, and then it'll actually talk to it here. I'm not going to go too much in depth into this because we have a live class specific to this that's going to show you how to customize the material list, add materials, all of that good stuff. But just something to get you all excited about. And hopefully, again, you're all getting the vision where it's like, hey, you start in 2D, you start pulling on the emotional piece from the homeowner. This is a real life picture of your house. Let's make changes to it. Once they've actually decided on something, have that, flow into the 3D model with some limitations at this time. It's not fully built out. There is some limitations, but go in there, go ham on 3D model, make any and all changes, and then have that flow into the 3D model. Cool. And let me look at my notes here. Let's see if there's anything I forgot.
Yeah, one other question that came up, Christian.
Yeah, please.
It's in 2D design.
Yeah.
Touching more on the different paint options on the exterior, like Sherwin-Williams, if we could just show that.
Yeah. So if we were to hit in paint, and then it's going to allow you to choose what do you want to paint. So let's just do the walls. And then here are some of the brands we work with, Behr, Benjamin Moore. And then Ali, I believe you said specifically Sherwin-Williams. So if you were to hit view, you can still do it with the filter and then choose the color, the colors you would like, or just you can browse through it. And if you're only looking to change the color, let's just do to Greek Villa. And then it'll change within there. And if you're only looking to make changes to the paint, again, you can go in here. An exciting thing with this is, I know I didn't spend too much time, but you can also go in here and change the garage door if it's something you're interested in. And let that load. Then we made changes to it. Maybe this one that has windows to make it pop out a little bit more. And then we make changes to it. Now, again, let's save it. And just to show you all, maybe you're working with the homeowner and they're like, hey, I want a different view. I'm going to be doing the back. Maybe you can also just select this one. And this might be a better one for the garage. Let's see how it'll look. I've actually never played around with it, folks, with this angle. So hopefully it looks good. and then it'll change. Again, maybe they want to do this white modern door one as generic. You can go in there and play with it. Ali, let me know if I missed anything or more detailed.
No, I think that's great. I think
Perfect.
just rehashing the painting feature and
Yeah,
using like the Sherwin brand is really like in the 2D space, right? And not in 3D like today. So 2D is like
correct.
the
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, then if you were to go in here, and it back to the 3D model, it's not so much changing the picture. It's going to be more, by specific trade-in material. So the wash, trim, etc. Um, you'll look it up the type that you would like, and then the color. But it's not like in the 2D where you can actually paint it. You actually have to go into the specific material and then look for the color. Mm, great. That's really all I had on my end, folks. Let me review. We shared shape designs and measurements. I know, I'm not sure if Keyshawn or Ali have mentioned this, but if you do want a little bit more of an in-depth webinar, like sorry, demo. I know today was more of like the high level, of the functionality and what's changed and what's to come, etc. We do have a link where you can schedule a call with someone on our team specifically. Feel free to get that scheduled. And like I mentioned earlier, this recording will be sent out to all of you. I'm not leaving yet, but I just want to know we have additional resources. We have a bunch of help center articles. Our YouTube channel has recently been updated, with like quick videos showcasing, what's been changing, why it's been changing. So feel free to review those, share them with your team. And then really quickly, before I just open it up to any final questions, you want to give me a sec here. We'll, for those of you interested, we have a couple of more live training classes coming up. So on Thursday, we actually have our measurements live training, and our one and only Keyshawn will actually be hosting that. And then we'll have another one next Tuesday if you can't make it. Again, folks, if you can't make it, don't worry about it. We'll send you a recording afterwards. And then later on in the next couple of weeks, we also have an estimates live training. So again, that's going to show you how basically from any materials that you've selected within the 3D model, have that talk to the our estimates tool, again, formerly known as materialist tool, to save you time. And then at the end of the month, early March, we're going to be hosting a live class specifically on our new proposals tool. And what that allows you to do is based on the estimates, we're allowing you to create multiple proposals, share them with your client. They can actually review, the materials, the labor costs, all of that good stuff. And then they can actually select it, sign a contract, and then it's a book job. So a lot of live trainings we have coming on. So please keep a lookout, sign up for them. The sign up sheet is going to be in our follow up email. But again, that's all I had for you today, folks. We're going to stay on. We still have about 12 minutes. Any final questions anyone has, any questions that they would like me to actually demo within the product, feel free to ask. And yeah, but if nothing else, thank you all for your time. Hopefully this was helpful.
Yeah, Christian, actually, one question since
Yeah.
it just came up from Gabriel. It sounds like Gabriel's asking about changing like the fascia, which would cover kind of, the eaves trough was the specific question. But yeah, it would change the rakes and the eaves, right?
Mhm.
But just showing a quick change there.
Oh, so again, going in here, fascia. It'll automatically be changing it. Again, maybe you don't want everything to change. You can, well, it's all iron gray right now, but you want to select multiple ones. Maybe it's just like this right here. Why would you want to do this? I have no idea, Gabriel. Just work with me here. Just trying to visually get you to see it, but maybe you want to do it a different color, you can. But yep, it'll be changing this. Maybe you want this one a different color, so you can select a specific fascia that you want to make changes to. Just make sure, again, to select the specific one. You can have it be all fascia, or it can just be certain ones. And hopefully that answered your question.
I believe so. Yeah, Gabriel, let us know if that
Perfect.
didn't come through.
Okay.
We've had a question too. I just want to make sure that you can speak to this, Christian, for the group.
Yeah.
Changing the freeze board or adding it if it's not in the drawing.
So, and Ali, correct me if I'm wrong. You won't be able to add any freeze board, correct?
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I thank God I have Ali here. So no, there you won't be able to add any. So, and then I think that's one good call out, folks, for everyone to know is we're allowing you to make design changes on essentially whatever's already on the property. We allow you to change the siding, we allow you to, the trim, the soffit, et cetera. But anything else you'd want to add, I think a great example is maybe you want to add like an additional window, a door. None of that we allow you to actually do. It's kind of just making changes to what you see already. Or unlike shutters, though, we now allow you to remove those. We don't allow you to customize them or, add anything new, but we do now allow you to remove those.
Hey Christian, that
Yeah.
that belly band that you have on the gable, can you just show
Mhm.
everyone how you can like change that back to stucco or like whatever
Yeah.
material it was if they wanted to remove it?
Yes, sir. So we went in here and again, calling it that out, you're like, hey, I don't want it to be, a belly band trim. If you click on that, we have this button, which will convert it back to a wall. And then obviously with this, you just want to go then and find the stucco. So this was stucco. So then we can just easily filter. One, I don't know. Okay, there it is. What color did I do? It should let me know, but I believe it was this one. Oh, come on. And then now it's out one. And then we've actually added this button where if you were to go in here and you're doing a split, if we want, you can convert all of this to trim. Why would anyone do that? Don't know, but we now allow you to do that. Or if you've done that, you can then go back to something that you've created a trim and then convert it back to a wall. Same thing. Maybe they're like, hey, we don't want these outside, trim anymore. Convert it to a wall, and it's going to take it back to what originally was there. And then even to do that, if you want to call it out, it's going to call out the horizontal sidings, and you're like, hey, you want to switch that back to stucco, search for it, and then now it's out one. Now it's stucco. And the way I like to explain all of these changes is I know the UI is a little bit different, folks, but I promise you everything that you were used to in the old design tool is there, but now we've given you even more additional tools to be able to use. And my last poll for you today, folks, I apologize for all of these polls. I want to get additional context, but this is just webinar feedback. Anything you'd like, didn't like, please feel free to be honest with me. You're not going to hurt my feelings, but I'd love to hear from the team. What did you like? What didn't you like? Anything also you'd want me to share with our team, more than happy to.
Christian, I
Cool.
have two more design show and tells if possible.
Yes,
Uh,
please.
could you show just a quick change out of the front door and
Yeah,
then like window color as well, like making the windows all black would be great.
cool. So we're going to change the front door. Now, I guess, Ali, is this in the 3D model or the 2D model, or it doesn't really matter?
It wasn't specified, so I mean, let's do it in 3D. Why not?
Okay, 3D. And then just know, folks, even though I'm going to show you in 3D, you are able to change the windows and the doors in the 2D model. Obviously, you just want to click on door and then make changes. But here, you click here. I don't remember what different, I think it's just some generic ones, but you could even go in here. We're going to give you some additional options, double panel with half light, blah, blah, blah. But let's just do the double panner. And then maybe this one right here. And then you can go in here and make actual changes if you select it. That's more for a backyard, so maybe not for the front door, but I think this is a sliding door also, but here, this one. And then if you are looking to change the color, if you were to go down here, where's the color? Right here. Same thing as the rest. We're making it super easy to where everything is kind of the same. Maybe you want to do like let's change it up and do, a pink. Why would anyone have a pink door? You never know, but no, always go. And if you have a pink door, I love a pink door. But go in there, browse the different colors. That just lets you see right there. Same thing with the windows. If you were to click windows, you can choose what kind of window it is that you would want. 2/2, New England, Perry. So let's just do this 3 top row. And then how to change all of our window groups. I don't do that. Maybe you can't really tell. The brown looks, you can barely tell. Okay, there. And then again, like I mentioned earlier, maybe this window you want it to be different. If you select that, this could be a black one, and you can make actual selections just to that specific one. But same thing when it comes to the filter. You're to go in here, you can browse to the different color filters we offer. And then I think because we have time, if you were to click on the 2D design, let's go back. Let's just save that. Update this design. And then if you were to go in here, same thing, hit the windows. You can either select certain windows or all of them. For the sake of time, I'm going to do all of them. Going to update it right here. And then it'll make changes. Same thing, going back, you want to change the door. And there's that pink one. And then that's actually one thing I forgot to call out, and I'm happy this happened, where any filters you add into either the 3D mode or the 2D mode, just know it will be saving. I always like to, and I haven't been doing it, so I sound like a hypocrite. I always like to clear them all. But just one thing to keep note, if you're going in here and you're making changes in the 2D model, and then you're like, okay, let me switch to the 3D, you will see those filters appear. So just always recommend clearing out to start from scratch. Or if you want it to be that way, great, continue using the filters. Back to the 3. Perfect. But again, like I mentioned, folks, you're not going to break anything. Go in here, begin making changes, play around with it, get comfortable with it. Our team here has made the design tools easy to use, so you don't need to be a designer to actually be using these tools. I promise you, it's just like muscle memory. Work on it, and once you get comfortable with it, it can become like second nature. And then I think if anyone has any questions they would like me to answer, I think we have time for about one more. See in here. Sean, Ali, anything or?
Christian, can you change like the window color? Just show how folks can do that.
Yeah. So again, if you were to go in here, I always just like to view the different, well, here, let me make sure I clear it all. They go in here, view it based on let's just do a dark one since the rest of them are brown. And then it'll give you all of it, and you can see, unlike the rest, this one's black. Different one. Maybe you don't want black. Maybe you want it an orange one. And then it'll be orange right there. And then because I left the black on, you also have the options to see the black. Perfect. Well, I think we're at time here. So again, folks, hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully we were able to get all your questions answered. Hopefully you're also feeling better about all of these changes. Sign up for some of our live classes. Again, we have another one this Thursday if you're interested in a deep dive of our measurements tool. We have another one coming up for estimates and then proposals. We will be sending out this recording with some additional resources, folks. But anything else, We have our support team. They're available 7 days a week. Feel free to call them, feel free to email them, or you can also live chat with them. I always get asked if when you chat with them, they're a real human. I promise you they are. So, any questions, any technical issues, they'll be your go-to team. But hopefully this was helpful. And yeah, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your week. And thank you so much, Keyshawn, Ali. You guys killed it. I appreciate your help. Bye, everyone. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks all.